I thought it was good.
All right. Um, Hi. Welcome to the third episode of the Prison Moon podcast.
Thank you.
Um, you're not welcome because you're already here.
Jeez.
Yeah, I welcomed you earlier. It's okay. Um,
Okay, true.
we talk about albums on here. Believe it or not. Uh, in last week we talked about the second MCR album, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. Uh,
Unfortunately.
This week, we're going to be talking about the 2004 MF Doom record, Food.
We
Replacing
do a lot
Wyatt
of
this week.
2004.
We do a lot of 2004, actually.
Yeah. Hell of a year.
Yeah.
Found you weren't even
So,
born yet.
shut up. I was born in 2002. I'm only slightly baby. Anyways,
You were
you should
listening
probably
to MF Doom at 2 years old.
yes, you should probably introduce yourself. So, replacing Wyatt, we have
Yo, mama. My name is Chandesky. Hi.
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 You want to tell us a little bit about your taste in music, what you kind of listen for when you're listening to music, anything like that. Just like a brief overview, so we can get an idea of what perspective you're going to be having on the record and future records.
Yeah, sure. If I didn't listen to music, I would have committed suicide. So, music is important to me.
Yeah. What kind of music?
Anti-suicide music. Like
So-
MF Doom. Like Danger Doom, and all right, this is
And
falling
doom metal.
apart.
Just all the
Um,
dooms.
Yeah, no, that just fell apart, and all of my credibility in this podcast is over with. So, yeah, I listen to everything. I don't really care for genre or anything or whatever. I just sort of listen for whatever sounds good, whatever feels good.
You'll be sure to join us when we talk about Pinkerton. I'm aware.
No, I fucking hate Weezer.
Based.
All right. Anything else?
Oh yeah, I like Weezer a lot. So,
Based.
Uh-oh.
All right.
there you go. That's where I'm coming from.
Hell yeah. So basically, everyone either take his opinions very seriously or don't take them seriously at all, depending who you are and if you're
There
correct
is-
or not.
There is no middle ground.
Yeah, exactly.
No centrism here.
Exactly. So the anti-centrist Peter, just like
Yes.
brief reintroduction, I guess. We won't do this every time, but
I mean, we might as well.
all right, maybe we will do this every time. We'll decide in the next few weeks.
Yes, I'm Peter. Listen to all sorts of stuff, mostly, I guess like electronic and like psychedelic stuff, some art pop, some industrial hip hop, bits and pieces here and there. Yeah.
All right. I'm Nathan. I listen to a lot of music, believe it or not. I wouldn't have started this podcast if I didn't listen. Actually, maybe I would have started this podcast if I didn't listen to music. I shouldn't lie to myself. I try and listen to basically everything. I've been on like a hyperpop kick recently. All that garbage.
What the fuck is a hyperpop?
It's a geck. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you.
That's what that's called.
Yeah,
It's
we've
more
got a
than just
geck.
Gex, though.
Yeah, we've got your Dorian Electras. We've got your
All kinds of good shit.
yeah.
We'll
Does
get
Bjork
around to
count?
that.
What was that, Chan?
Does Bjork count as hyperpop?
I
D-
think not technically, but Bjork kind
But I've
of,
never
I
been
think,
more.
I think Bjork inspired them a lot, for
Yeah,
sure.
I know Bjork
especially
inspired
like
Death Grips, which
I,
is
I
wild.
think definitely Post inspired hyperpop.
Yeah.
Post hyperpop.
No,
Oh
no,
god, we're gonna get post hyperpop in like 20 years.
I meant the album Post, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get post hyperpop eventually.
All right.
Just grunge.
So the album. Uh, Food. What do we think about it? Uh,
You know, it's just one of the most important albums to ever exist in the hip hop sphere ever. But
I
Wow.
don't disagree, but elaborate on that a little bit.
I mean, this really opened up sort of the Rhyme Slayer catalog to the world, and without this, you know, I feel like you even really maybe later, sure, but I mean like Aesop and all the other people on Rhyme Saver, Sayers, sorry, probably, you know, they would come around eventually, like I said, but this, I'm just repeating myself. What is happening? This album really opened them up to the world, and the style and the sort of, you know, Doom and his crew and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. How about
So
you, Peter?
Um, definitely covers a lot of ground. Got a good mix of like uh old and new sounds, especially with like some of the samples kind of like vintage sounding, but really like futuristic at the same time. Um, I mean, for like early 2000s, definitely paved the way for a lot of modern heavyweights in the hip hop genre.
Yeah. I uh I liked this. So this week was my first time hearing this record. Um I am a huge fan of Madvillain. Uh and I find it wild that Madvillainy and this album came out in the same year. I forgot to check which came first. Do either of you know, or should I check that now?
give it a good look. Why don't
All
you?
right.
Quick Google search.
Madvillainy release date March 23rd. Food release
Mm.
date November 16th. So Madvillainy came first. Oh, if I looked up,
Which means it's better.
That kind of makes sense.
Madvillainy is better, I will say. But it
There we
is.
go.
Are we gonna have an argument about this?
No, I
Okay.
don't know why you had to be so aggressive about throwing out freaking comparisons so early.
Yeah. um, but yeah, I really liked it. Find it pretty cool that these are all produced by MF Doom. I don't think I'd heard anything he'd produced before this. It
What,
definitely
in
is.
Food?
Yeah,
He didn't produce all of them, but
not all of them. There's one Madlib song and then another who I forget who produced it. But most of it is him. Um, I was pretty surprised by how he's kind of absent for like a decent chunk of this record.
yeah.
Like he kind of just
But is he really absent though?
you
If he
know
produced it, he's not.
no,
Yeah, like
but like he like
he produced it,
lyrically
he's
is
on
absent.
omniscient.
lyrically he's absent, but that still doesn't necessarily mean that he is artistically gone.
Yeah,
You know, Doom talks through his samples.
totally. And then and sometimes literally when he like makes some of the vocal samples there.
Double overs, yeah.
Yeah. Um so this album is basically split into 3 chunks. I think we'll go on a track by track basis for a lot of it, but some of them I feel like we can probably compile together. Specifically the middle, there's 4 tracks.
Especially because it's like 15 tracks long.
Yeah, exactly. This is a longer record. A longer record by track length. I've seen this track listing split up into 3 sections with names. So the first 5 tracks, Beef Rap Through Deep Fried Friends, is appetizers. The next, the 4 tracks of kind of sound collage stuff is special recipes, and then the last 5 tracks are entrees.
Huh. I did not know that, but I like
I,
it.
I, that's just like, so I see this on Rate Your Music because I was looking to
Okay.
see when I was checking the track length.
Are there any bonus tracks called Dessert?
No.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Yeah. Um but yeah, do we want to just hop in with the first track?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. So, Beef Rap. Chan, what do you think of this song? You got any thoughts on Beef Rap?
No thoughts. Solid, solid entrance. Really, and you see this replicated later is sort of a more, I guess, cinematic almost opening track, especially with 2 minutes of samples from movies and TV shows,
Yeah.
sort of creating this image of what the album is going to be, and then just given a good verse after that. Not nothing too crazy, but uh, sort of creates the character of Metal Face and what's going on.
Yeah. How about you, Peter?
Yeah, hell of an opener. Um, uh, lot to unpack. I mean, this whole album for sure, but especially first track, I think. There's like, I mean, obviously with the title, you got like food themes. There's also like more like social, political themes with a bit of tongue in cheek. Yeah, Chana's talking about these characters they're introducing.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
I should have mentioned earlier the kind of idea around this record is it's all food based, either food
right.
puns, literally about food, or kind of food comparisons, stuff like that. All the
Which is a
tracks.
really cool concept. It's really like a universal theme,
Yeah, and I'm
obviously.
surprised he took it so far without it getting like too ridiculous or corny for
Right. But I mean,
corny.
you also have other themes that kind of like slide in there and give you a little break from the food stuff.
Totally, yeah. I mean,
So I
there's the
think that's cool
whole
too.
yeah. He's got his image as Metal Face and all that as
Yeah.
Doom. Um, but yeah, I think this is a pretty good introduction with the 2 minutes of samples that kind of brings in that Doom character with all the old Spider-Man show samples, as well as the food theme with the skit from Wild Style. Um, I really like his I like Doom's flow. I mean, that's kind of the coldest take on the planet. Um,
How dare you?
yeah, I know. This is one of the tracks where I feel like Doom's flow is the most like what we saw on Mad Villainy, where it's more he will stop in the middle of a sentence, like on a bar, and then pick up the rest of the sentence later, even like halfway through a word, and just like his kind of eccentric style of rapping. He's also
Mm.
got this one not as much, but on some of the other tracks he's definitely got like some of that huskier voice you hear on some of those tracks. On this one he's a bit more laid back, I find. Um but yeah, the beats on this track especially seem to be basically all sampled from old television show themes and stuff like that and soundtracks through that like lo-fi old television filter. I assume, given when this album came out, that it was actually recorded from some kind of uh like physical television speaker and mic'd up, but it's also possible that it wasn't. Either way, it sets the tone well and feels really of its time, I'd say. Yeah. Are there any lyrics anyone would like to point out? I don't really have any for this track. There's uh a bunch of food puns, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, I think just like pretty much near the start, it says here you will find food for your body as well as comfort for your troubled mind. Um, kind of like introducing the album and already drawing those parallels between like music as food.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's setting up for the rest of it, and is like, yeah, I'm gonna feed you.
also this song introduces the "We Need Food" sample, which shows up all throughout the record, which is it's a pretty good sample. Yeah. Um, and then that leads into potholders. What do no, it doesn't. I'm a liar. It leads into hoe
Okay.
cakes.
Wow, your credibility is
I was about to
It's
call
gone.
you out.
all gone. All right.
Come on, dude.
You missed one.
Already. All
Hoe
right.
cakes.
Yeah, what do you think of hoe cakes, Chan?
Oh, it's great. Just very silly. The
It's
sample.
real
I
goofy.
mean, two fantastic samples with the beatboxing
Yeah.
and super.
Super.
I love that super sample.
It's so good.
It keeps
Anytime
popping
like
up,
that.
and like
That's
I never
my
get tired of it.
Yeah, that's my weak spot is when a rapper will take like a sample and then use it throughout the whole thing as like a punchline or just like it is a part
Yeah.
of the rap.
Exactly.
Like, that shit just gets my goat, as the
I
kids
love
say.
that. It's really good. Yeah, I think after this I might set this to be my my like text notification sound.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah, how about you, Peter?
Yeah. I mean, this one's really catchy, I guess. Even more so than the first track. I think that little super sample really helps, and just like there's so many rhymes, it just keeps popping back up and up again. Um, I don't know if I have too much to say about this one.
Yeah, I mean this is
It's just a really catchy, really solid track.
this is one of the I'd say this is one of the better tracks on the record. But also it is similar to a lot of the other tracks on the record in a way that it doesn't really stand out for any reasons besides what we've said before. Like we've already said, the super sample and that beatbox thing, which initially annoyed the shit out of me, but then
Really?
I was listening to it on computer speakers. And
Ouch.
so once I listened to it on
Rookie
headphones, I
mistake.
was like, wow, wait, never mind, this isn't as bad because the speakers were not good. But yeah, and it's just like one thing a lot of these tracks have is it's just one long verse from Doom. Like a lot of these songs don't have choruses, they don't even have like breaks. He's just going and going and going and going and just bar after bar after bar. So even if one of the bars isn't a hit, the next one will be. Like it kind of he's got such a high consistency with his bars that he can just do that, and even if one of the bars doesn't hit with you, then it's surrounded on either side by two great bars. But yeah, just a really fun track. Not overly deep or anything, and I don't think this album as a whole gets overly deep in a way that that the first two records we talked about were. But yeah, it's just super fun.
I
Okay.
think that works to its favor, though.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like it's very very of its time, but not like in a way that it's aged poorly or anything like that. I think it's aged really well.
Yeah. You've also got this skit at the end with Doom and I didn't know this until reading the lyrics, but J. Jonah Jameson having a little exchange, and it's kind of carrying over the kind of more comic book villain themes from Mad Villainy.
Yeah, totally. I have not listened to MF Doom's first record. Is that also like is that a recurring theme on all his records? Because I've only heard Mad Villainy in this.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
What's the first one called?
Operation Doomsday, I think.
I feel like I have heard that one, but like years ago. I don't remember.
All right.
Chan, do you know?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is the supervillain, like all these Spider-Man samples, stuff like that? Is that a recurring thing throughout his discography, or is it
Yeah.
just between Mad Villainy and this?
No, he uses it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
it's his thing.
looking at Operation Doomsday, I could kind of assume that it was on there as well, but I didn't want to make that statement.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a supervillain.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Okay. This the next and then now we get into potholders with a Z at the end.
Good job, you did it.
Yeah,
No,
we did it. What do you mean
it's
no?
a Z at the end, and we're not fighting about it.
There's more Canadians here than Americans.
It's tied technically, but we won't get there. We won't discuss the back end of this right now.
It's a
All right.
silent majority.
Potholders.
Yeah. What do you think of potholders, Chan?
I think that it's irresponsible for Doom to murder so many MCs in one single song, because I personally think that Flex songs are just annoying. But when Doom does it, you're like, yeah, no, he actually is kind of that cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's really the issue with Flex songs, is like people flexing when they really have no right to flex. But yeah, you know, Doom brings the heat without needing potholders, and that's what that is.
Yeah. What do you think about the feature on this Count Bass D?
Count Basie, as you know, I think it brings a nice balance, like, because I feel like that's the thing when you're listening to a Doom track, is that, you know, his flow and his voice is consistently just great, but too much of it, and like with anything, you know, it gets too much. So throw in a feature,
Yeah.
and it's just a nice refrain for a bit.
Yeah. How about you, Peter?
This one I think was a little bit repetitive for me. I feel like I don't know, a lot of the other tracks, they kind of play around with samples, and it kind of has like more of a ebb and flow to it. This one felt
Mm.
kind of more just like the same loop with fresh bars over them. I did like them. I just felt like, I don't know, for a 3.5 minute track, it was a bit long winded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Still impressive though to keep dropping bars that long. you
Yeah,
know?
I still think it's a good track, just not as
Yeah.
strong as some of the other ones.
Yeah. Honestly, this is one of my favorite beats on the record.
Oh, okay.
I really like
It's
the
it's what I call a Nintendo 64 beat. Like, I feel like that guitar is something you hear after you beat Cruise in the USA lap track, and it's like you're at the screen where you put in your initials for the scoreboard. It's
Oh man.
Okay.
you know,
Oh man.
and 64
Maybe I
type
can hear
beat.
that.
N64 type beat. Wow. Yeah, I like that clean guitar with like the super prominent like boom bap drums. I hope I'm using that term correctly. I've never used that term in conversation before.
Credibility gone.
Yeah. But there's also some nice like subtle stuff. There's obviously the smooth bass line, but there's also like a banjo loop in the background that I didn't notice until I was like wearing the headphones, and it adds some nice kind of flavor to it. And then as the track progresses, there are some more details that add on, like the little record scratch around halfway start like added to the beat, and then some there's like vocal snippets, especially at the end. That's how the song kind of ends. Um, I like Count Basie's flow. It serves as a nice counter to Doom's more kind of eccentric style. And this is just my my kind of minimal experience with rap speaking, but it kind of reminds me of a less husky Killer Mike in how his flow works. I don't know if that'll resonate, but that's kind of just what came to mind. But yeah, I like this track quite a bit. It is, yeah, just kind of a diss track, but like when Doom does a diss track. Come on. I do think maybe the Holocaust bar at the beginning was a little poor taste, but
It's Doom.
it's that was Count Basie, but yeah.
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
Doom. He
It got the Doom seal approval.
yeah. And like Doom, he does things for the music, for the rhyme, for the verse, and the overall consequences are unimportant.
Yeah,
You can't take it
he's
too
a villain.
seriously.
He's a villain.
Yeah, he's a villain. Of course, he's gonna
Right.
make a Holocaust bar. um,
All right.
Yeah.
And then that track goes into One Beer.
Yes.
All
sure
right.
does.
Chan, what do you think about One Beer?
This is one of the best rap songs ever made. It's up there. It's in the list.
All right.
And there's not much really to say about that. It's classic. It's known. There's a little probably to add to the conversation.
Fair
I think
enough.
so.
Peter, how about you?
Yeah, I just one of the strong. I mean, I don't know about best rap songs ever made, but definitely one of the strongest ones on the album. I was talking earlier about like mixing like these old samples with kind of like a fresh sound, and this is like a prime example of that.
Mm.
Um,
I actually listened to the sample. The
do you know what
album.
the sample's from?
It's from Cortex, which was a French jazz.
Yeah.
Uh,
8 Octobre,
piece.
1971. I don't know how to
Okay,
say
yeah,
numbers in French.
Because I was really vibing with this sample. I feel like
Yeah.
this or maybe something similar was on like Since I Left You by the Avalanches. This really reminded me of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of that same era of production and that same style almost. Like
Right.
it's
I mean,
it's a lot more
same
straightforward on here, but
same era of production, but the samples you can tell it's a lot older than that.
oh yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. And even at the last minute, there's a really cool like I guess get like the little the voiceover comes back in, and I love that part too.
That was a really nice little bringing it back in.
Yeah, it was like the whole last minute, but I didn't mind at all.
Mhm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this track. Before I went to look at my notes, I couldn't remember which track this was the whole time Chan was talking, but now that I remember what track this is, I agree. It is very, very good. I really like, obviously, the kind of... I described it as almost a soul sample, but it's not in my notes. I don't know how to describe the sample, but like that female vocal sample makes this one of the most memorable songs on the record just by how prominent in the mix it is. I like the beginning where Doom is just doing his really awful singing.
Alcohol doesn't thrill me at all.
It's real good.
I get a kick out of brew.
We're gonna get taken down. You're too close to the you're too close to the original. They're gonna think we're
MF Doom.
Yeah,
you're actually you're actually who they send up when MF Doom doesn't want to play his shows.
Yeah.
He just sends you up.
Yeah, I put on blackface and go up there.
Oh fuck.
Uh-oh.
Don't set yourself up for those jokes, Bound.
Yeah.
Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, apparently this track was originally supposed to be on Mad Villainy.
It's true. Enemy can tell.
I mean, it's produced by Madlib
on the production, so yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think, of course, makes it one of the best in the album.
Yeah. If there's one thing I will say,
it's so stark how much more warm and rich this song is compared to the rest of the album.
Totally. I mean, I guess I just found the word for it now, but a lot of the tracks on this record, compared to Mad Villainy, which was my only experience with Doom beforehand, it sounds more kind of metallic. It sounds a little more mechanical, which I mean fits with the theme of MF Doom being Doctor Doom. But yeah, this definitely is a an interesting uh, kind of change of pace and change of tone. Um, but yeah, the minute of Spider-Man samples is pretty great. Honestly, this album made me want to go watch that Spider-Man cartoon. Yeah. All right, one more song before we get into the special recipes. We think about deep fried friends.
Oh, dude. This felt like a classic fucking like West Coast fucking like just jam like so that's good.
Yeah.
I just had to put it on real quick right there.
Yeah.
Just sort
I
of like
can't do
almost
that
like
because I'm recording, but I wish I could.
yeah. Just sort of like it's almost like a G-funk yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Is MF Doom East or West Coast? I legitimately don't know.
East Coast.
Okay.
From London, but well, I mean all over the place really, you know.
Yeah.
Minnesota, you know.
Yeah. How about you, Peter? What do you
Universal.
think about this track?
I mean, this was a really big like a 1-2. One beer and deep fried friends are
Yeah.
like two of my favorites on this album. Uh, I guess we have different frames of reference. To me, the like saxophone kind of like easy listening sample was like something of like a future funk or like a vaporwave track even, but back in like 2004. I thought that was really cool. Um, yeah, and again the whole like recycling of old sounds because that was like a really like cheesy kind of sax sound that was really repurposed in a cool way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think this like one beer followed by this is a really great like you said, just kind of a 1-2. I will say something I didn't mention last track because I think it kind of shows a little bit of contrast with this track. As great as one beer is, I don't really catch any of the bars as I'm listening to it. I think it might even just be because of how prominent that vocal sample is. It just kind of takes over in my mind, and I can't really catch many of Doom's bars. This is kind of the opposite, where the sample is so kind of not laid back, but it's less prominent. Sorry, the beat is a little less prominent, and the since the main sample, the ones that we depend on, works its way into the lyrics. It makes me listen to the lyrics more, and I catch a lot more of the great bars on this track. But yeah, just another one of the best tracks on the record. I think his cadence might not be at its most unique here, but it's made off. It's made up for by the fact that he is just showing off his lyrical ability without having to kind of rely on the tricks in his flow that he's got on some of the other tracks. Yeah, just another great track, and it ends on some more Spider-Man samples that kind of samples that kind of lead us into the next four tracks, the 4-track run of kind of sound collage stuff.
Do we want to go over the like outro skit a little bit? It's got some character development here.
Sure, go for it.
That was more of a question. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Sorry, the gumbo.
I'm not sure what to make of this. Yeah, well, it's just setting up the character. Again, I'd heard like MF Doom stuff like years ago, so this was like a really big refresher for me. I guess I should have maybe listened to Mad Villainy or the other one you're talking about in preparation, but um, yeah, they're talking about the Doom character a little bit more. Um, First met Doom years ago, alone to pursue his forbidden experiments, and then one of the experiments went wrong, and he was injured. Now he's trying to fix that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the backstory of Doctor Doom in that show. But I like how he uses those he just kind of takes all of the samples that relate to Doctor Doom and kind of throw them together in ways that tell a slightly different story that fits more into the tracks on this record and across his discography.
Are you a fan of the show, or did you watch it to research this album?
I am just aware of the show.
Oh, okay, fair.
And like I can tell from hearing these voice acting performances, like I've seen a little bit of the show and I know these performances enough to instantly catch on that this is that show.
Do you feel like that like enhanced or maybe like tainted your experience with this?
I think it enhanced it. I didn't.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting how he kind of repurposes the samples to tell a similar but different story.
I guess it makes sense as like the last track of the first part.
Yeah,
That this is like straight up
where he
telling
kind
you
of falls into it's his origin story pretty much.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got the beginning, middle, and end in those three parts.
Yeah. Do we want to just kind of we won't obviously take as long on each track as we did with these, but do we want to go over these middle tracks just a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, we've got Poo Putt Platter.
Poo poo.
Poo Poo. What do you think about Poo Poo Chan?
It's not nice.
Oh,
That's not proper podcast talk, Bound.
damn! I'm sorry.
Go to your room.
I'm in my room.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all these are just. I can't really say.
Yeah,
anything
it's
about
kind of
any
hard to
them
distinguish
individually.
them. So I guess we can.
Gumbo is the most important to me because it has a Frank Zappa.
I was
sample.
gonna say that was probably. I had a feeling that would be your favorite. You know what? Yeah, let's not take these one by one. We'll just talk about the four as a whole.
Yeah, but Gumbo really, I love the sample about edible wrappers.
Yeah.
And totally just subverting that
Every
and
time.
basically, that's a big thing about Doom and just like the commerciality
Yeah.
of rap, and how really all he is just like something to be consumed to the rap world.
Yeah. I like in Gumbo that that sample, like the Frank Zappa sample, but also the edible rappers stuff. I also really like the Yule Given spoof stuff where he's like talking about how he eats in the wild and just like feels more and more unhinged as these go on. It's real funny.
Mm.
I think these work really well with the album cover too.
Yeah.
These middle sections, because really like, yeah, the whole like breakfast food, like commercials, Saturday morning cartoon type vibes.
Yeah. It totally feels almost like an intermission or like
Yeah,
an
and
ad
like
break. And
I feel like especially Gumbo, which is like talking about these edible wrappers, like you're trying to
Yeah.
sell this like bullshit product to people.
Yeah. And I think it all kind of all the ideas from the first three kind of come together in Fig Leaf Bicarbonate, which has all of the sources of those samples kind of mashed together into one longer tracks. Is this one of the long? I don't think it's one of the longer tracks on the record, but it's over 3 minutes, which puts it in the top like 6.
Yeah, it's in the mid range,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I can kind of understand where some people are coming from if they're here for MF Doom's rapping, but as someone who really likes production and this style of production, especially this kind of sound collage stuff, I really enjoy this
Yeah.
these
I
four
mean,
tracks.
it's really like plunderphonics plus rap at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, pretty much. Any final thoughts on these before we move on?
Nope.
No.
All right. I have a feeling this will be a bit of a shorter, a shorter episode. That's all right. Um, all right. So we go into Con Carne. I really like this song. Chan, what do you think?
I'm a sucker for beatboxing and the little beatboxing sample they used. Um, it's very. I think the instrumental is the best part of this one. It's very clean, uh, very fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, I find one thing interesting with this track is it comes after all of the sound collage stuff,
Mm.
and then this first bar makes me think he's gonna start like rapping Meat Grinder off of Mad Villainy. That maybe that's just me because I have listened to Mad Villainy so many times, but darker than the East River, larger than the Empire State, faster than the Meat Grinder, like it.
Oh,
I feel like I feel like I can't be the only one. Um. Anyways, Peter, what do you think about this track?
Um. Okay, I guess you like flipped roles on this one. You're more big on the lyrical side. Um, I've just been
No, that
noticing
was
like
just me
all.
pointing out that beginning stuff. I've got other thoughts as well.
Okay, I've just really been vibing with the samples. This one's got a really good like just juxtaposition of these like piano keys again, back to that like easy listening type of vibe, and then like the kind I don't know what it is. It's like almost like a laser gun sound effect, like pew pew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really cool contract with this like really like low key piano, and then this like energetic like pew pew every once in a while.
Yeah, I really like it.
um, so I thought that was really cool. I just love how much like range there can be with just like two uh complementary sounds.
Totally. Did you take a look at these lyrics a little bit? Because I did. So I guess we can flip the roles since you talked about the production.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I got a little tripped up by the last bar. I dedicate this mix to Sub Rock, the hip hop Hendrix. So I looked up who that is, and that's his late brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his brother DJ Sub Rock died in a car accident in '93. And
Wow.
this whole song is dedicated to him. And I think that kind of sheds almost a new light on the samples because I still don't catch a lot of the bars when I'm listening, and that's kind of the thing with Doom and how he raps is because it's so, I don't want to say esoteric, but it's a little kind of playing with how you can rap.
Yeah.
Sometimes the individual words get lost in just how he's saying them.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think this is like, I mean, it's not like a direct parallel, but I think like something like Death Grips where they play more with like how the words sound and the actual meaning of the words
yeah,
has like a big
totally.
has like a big role on this.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the line here as well. There's stuff. I can't find it, but there's a lot of stuff that does feel kind of like reminiscing on his brother and stuff like that. I mean, at this point it's like 9 years out, so he's not like super broken up about it in the way it would be if it was like a year or two. Um, but it's still there. He's clearly got a lot of respect and still obviously like misses him. Um, yeah, I can't find that bar. It's that's the other thing is because these are all just one verse. It's really hard to find any any individual line because it's just a
Right.
wall of text.
I
Um,
mean, this one's also like I didn't know that about his brother, but this one is I guess a little less lighthearted than the other ones.
yeah,
Talking about like vice grips and like I don't know, pissing on the sidewalk and being broke and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Ballistics.
Yeah.
It's still a fun track, but the lyrics themselves are
Yeah,
a
and I
little bit
think
on the
part of why
darker
it's
side.
fun, yeah, part of why it's fun is definitely that beat. There's like it's got a lot of bass to it, and it almost seems to like trip over itself. But since it's doing it on loop, it doesn't sound clumsy. Um, and then, but it doesn't sound normal, I guess. The hits are in times that you wouldn't kind of expect them to be, despite still being in 4/4. I did when I listened to this before this, I had to count to make sure it was actually in 4/4 because it just sounds a little odd. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty great track. I besides the fact that it's about his brother, I don't think it stands out to me. Um, in in any of the ways, like in a way that some of the other tracks do. But you'd be hard pressed to find a track on this record that isn't great. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Uh, Guinness. What do we think about Guinness?
Yeah.
Guinness is sorry.
This guy.
Yeah, I know.
No. I think that Doom has the impressive skill of being able to just let somebody else do a track on the record. Um, Doom has that confidence, and Doom has that overall creative foresight to just, Doom isn't just himself. Doom is everything in his music, and it is also these performers. And I think that makes this a very standout track. Just how it's still, an food song, despite lacking him in the verse.
Yeah, and I mean, there's it kind of plays into that with the first sample or second sample, where it's the X-Men, the Fantastic Four sample, sorry, where it's see your voice sounds familiar, and it's
Mm-hmm.
do want yeah. I think that plays well into how that plays into the story while still flowing well into the fact that this is the a track where it's a female rapper the whole time.
Did you look
Mm-hmm.
at these samples? Did you recognize all of them?
I looked at some of them. This one I recognized.
Okay, cool.
Um, Peter, what did you think about this track?
I really like this one. Again, I got some of the like darker themes. We're talking about like veterans and painkillers, POWs.
Yeah,
It's yeah, this is like where it's getting dark. You're getting into the nitty gritty of kind of more like I guess like social commentary, whereas the beginning is very like
maybe we were the MF Doom all along.
maybe.
No.
I mean, we do live in a society, so
Oh no.
um yeah, I thought it was a fun track despite all these dark lyrics, and I think that's really where MF Doom shines, I guess. It's just like reconciling um these opposing themes.
Yeah, I so this I did look into because someone had mentioned it. I was just looking at some general discourse around this record from kind of closer to when it came out. Since this was like not early internet, but it's kind of older internet. There were like forums and stuff. We didn't have our rate your music. We might have had rate your music. Anyways, um but this is a theme that kind of Doom tends to do and has continued to do, from what I understand, is he likes to put one feminine song in the second half of his albums. So either sung, rap by a woman, or like thematically feminine. Um, Oh shit! I had examples and I can't think of them off the top of my head. Um, but yeah,
Guinnesses.
yeah. But yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks. I think. Just how Angelica, or Star as she goes by now, just kind of effortlessly holds the entire track down over really just like a straightforward beat with a jazz sample. But that really cuts, and it cuts out at points to accentuate her verses. Um, it Yeah, the chorus is super memorable. By is it Four Eyes, or is it Four Size? I don't Fries. Oh my.
Fries?
Wait a minute.
That would
I
make
think it's
sense.
fries like the
Yeah,
food.
it's Fries. I just realized that right now. I've been calling it Four Eyes before that.
I mean, I guess it's like a double meaning because four eyes is also like a like expression
Yeah.
for people with glasses. But
Yeah,
fries would
but
make more
Fries
sense like
makes more sense
thematically.
here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just really like the flow on this record. When I was looking up the lyrics earlier, and I have this pulled up now on Genius. So yeah, she goes by Star now, and what have the artists said about this song? Her her official comment on this is, lyrics are totally wrong, 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 wrong. These are my lyrics. I need to edit them. This is
Oh
like
wow.
top right at the beginning. um but yeah, I like it. And then there's the outro skit has some of the kind of the funniest samples. There's also an F slur in there, but
Yeah. Are we
um
gonna talk about that?
are we?
I don't know. I mean, that could also be related to what you're talking about having the one feminine song on the album.
That Yeah, it could be.
But is it ironic?
That probably, but also this is 2004.
This
And
is also
like,
2004, so it might just be like casually offensive.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I generally don't tend to hold it against uh rappers at this time, specifically, like at this point, especially if they've stopped since, cuz I mean it was genuinely a different time, like the people weren't as aware of the meaning behind the words they said, and that's just kind of how it was. And from what I understand, Doom has not used. I don't think he's actually used that word in any of his lyrics. And I don't think he's used that a sample with it ever since. So like, it does like make me cringe a little bit when I hear it. Um,
But it could just be a sign of the times.
yeah, exactly. Same way as like, I mean, it's in Illmatic. I mean, obviously it's in Eminem stuff, but that stuff is aged poorly anyways.
Right.
Um, there's some Jay-Z stuff, like all of this stuff from like late '90s, early thousands, kind
I
of
think even
had
like
it
modern day
casually.
rappers like look like Earl Sweatshirt or like I think Tyler even has like on
Oh yeah,
earlier
well,
albums. Yeah.
but I mean, Tyler is gay, but
Yeah.
also, but was not out when he was making those songs. So yeah, it is.
Right. But I mean, we can talk about that when we get to a Tyler album too.
If we get to a Tyler album, I mean, we could put some on. I'm not
Yeah,
opposed
let's
to
do it.
anything.
I
But
like
yeah.
Tyler.
There's also the Bert and Ernie one of you didn't wash your neck.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
you go,
like that. They put a fucking Sesame Street sample on this.
hell yeah. And then the where you're going, there are no jokes. It's pretty good. I'm beginning to think that armor plated gargoyle doesn't like me. Yeah, there's some pretty good like skit samples at the end there.
Um, As a Spider-Man fan, can you tell me what the armor-plated gargoyle is a reference to?
Doom.
No, Green
Okay,
Goblin.
I
Oh
figured.
wait, shit. Yeah, that would make more sense. But also,
Credibility gone.
okay, but also it would fit with Doom as well, which is why I thought that would be the case.
Yeah, but Doom is Doom. He's not. He's not a Green Goblin.
Is he a gargoyle? He is armor-plated,
I looked it up.
but
It is
not a
referring to Doom.
gargoyle.
My credibility is intact.
Aha.
Now your credibility is gone, Chan.
Fake Spider-Man fan.
He just left the call.
Wait, really?
We got that on record. That was great.
No, he's still here.
He left when I said his credibility was gone. All right, let's move to
No.
Con Queso.
No, he's still here.
Yeah, he's back.
Okay, he's back. He's back.
All right, Chan, you can have your credibility back if you tell me what you like about Con Queso.
I like Con Queso because, it's sort of like a prequel to Rap Snitch and Knishes, in that the beat and everything sort of sounds very similar, and then sort of pulling from all of the different songs from around it. I think that on its own, it's an alright track, but definitely in the context with Rap Snitches coming up and all that, I think that's where the importance of this track comes in, sort of getting you ready for it.
Yeah, there's this one seems a lot more like, obviously in how it sounds, it doesn't feel like a protest anthem, but like lyrically there are definitely some themes that would fit that. Peter, what do you think about this track?
This was I'm trying to remember which one I said this about at the beginning, but it's another one of those like I liked it at the beginning. It was just kind of ran on with the same sample for a while. This one's like 4 minutes too, so a little bit longer. I like
Although
the more laid back
the verse
track, I
only
think.
lasts 2.5 minutes. Like the rest is all skit stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, true. But yeah, just the song itself. I like the more like laid back ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
So now my credibility's gone, because when I was talking about the beat that sounds like it's tripping over itself, this is what I was talking about, and I mixed up the two tracks, Con Carne and
oh,
Con
okay.
Queso.
Yeah.
Yeah, I messed up.
I mean, they do have similar names.
Yeah.
In your defense,
This is what I was talking about, and I like that.
yeah, there is a bit more like in the lyrics, there's more like social commentary on this one.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot more like just like spitfire. Like it's really fast. It's hard to
Yeah,
pick up
exactly. It's a
on
little, even
unless
maybe
you-
a little too fast for me to catch much of it. Like there's some pretty
Yeah.
obvious lyrics, especially when the beat drops out to emphasize certain bars. Like obviously I'll
I would
remember all
say
of those.
I would say it's a good track. All of these songs are, but I would
course.
say it's not one of the best tracks.
Yeah, I do like the outro skit.
Yeah.
We've got the basically where Doom's just taken over the world. It's pretty great. I mean, there's not much more to it than that, but it sets up for the last. I guess there's 3 tracks left. Thought there were 2. But yeah, it's another track. Do we want to? Let's just move on to Rap Snitch. Okay, is this Knishes? Because that's how he pronounces it here. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah, it's a Knish.
Okay. I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little meat pie.
A little meat pie. Okay. What do you think about meat pies, Chan?
Oh, meat pies are good. I could use one now, actually.
Honestly, we make them every Christmas, but it's starting to get cold up here since we're in fucking Canada. And I'm feeling
Canada's
like some.
not cold.
I'm feeling like some tortilla up in here.
What?
Oh, I think that's French for meat pie, I guess.
That doesn't. It's not even a real word.
All right, what do you think about Rap Snitch Knishes?
Oh man, it's again just a really good, one of the best rap songs ever. I'm sorry. I have to say it. I have to say that word.
Damn, don't say words.
Um, Mr. Fantastic, just like him and Doom just work so well together.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I find it very funny that Doctor Doom and Mister Fantastic on a
It's
track.
perfect. It's
It's
perfect.
so good.
You couldn't make this shit up.
Yeah,
But definitely a good example of just like how Doom doesn't necessarily take it all too seriously.
totally.
And that's the thing with Doom is like for one, he doesn't take his stuff too seriously. So no matter what, we could try to really break it down, but it's really just him, you know, keeping it real.
Yeah, I mean,
But also, I think that he is just genuinely smarter and way more attuned and in touch with reality than a lot of us are. And we are not very well equipped to actually deal with MF Doom or this album as a whole, as we have discovered, sounding like complete idiots. Um, totally. I mean, we're just not. I don't know why we're even here. Why are we here?
it's a
So
good
you think a
question.
lot of this is just him messing with us?
Yeah,
Straight up, it could be.
oh, totally.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
His
It
whole
could be,
career is about messing with the audience. Yeah,
Yeah, I
which I think is really respectable, honestly.
yeah.
totally.
He doesn't, and it's not like it. He doesn't hate the audience, but he doesn't treat them like they deserve
He was
something.
the
He doesn't
precursor to
treat
Death
them.
Grips.
Okay, so so my comparison earlier wasn't
Gonna let that one
totally
air
out
out.
of whack.
All right, Peter, what do you think about this track before I start getting like death threats in the comments for that?
I mean, we'll get around to Death Grips in a different in a different podcast.
We'll start
Um.
a podcast specifically about Death Grips. How about that?
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Another really fun track. I think, yeah, bringing it back around to the more like kind of just like lighthearted, like I guess what Chan said, like just kind of messing with the audience, like he's having fun. He's talking about like real stuff, but not taking it super seriously.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Um, I would say solid track. Maybe
yeah.
not one of the best, but like mid.
You disappeared for a second there. You disappeared for the part where Chen said this is one of the best rap songs ever made.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree then. Um, I do also feel like Chan maybe has more of a frame of reference for best rap songs. Uh,
Probably the best out of all of us, I'd say.
I'm a very recent arrival to the rap scene.
Same.
Just like the past like maybe 3 or 4 years,
Me, it's
and
And I
two
think where I
years.
come, I think that it's important that I discuss when I say like best rap songs of all times. Like it isn't like a list, you know, a list written
Yeah,
in stone, top 10 rap songs. Rap is a poet's society. It is the collective history of humanity, uh, condensed into almost uh, 40 years of music.
yeah. It's really
And
hard to judge.
well, you know what? It's not even about, yeah,
Yeah,
it's not even
exactly.
about
Yeah,
judging. It's about the fact that like this is a part of this huge connected existence of rap. And you know, this song, you know, resonates throughout every single song made after it, and it is the resonation of uh, the resonance of rap songs before it. And you know, when a rap album can sort of uh, go beyond its medium, its physical medium of just sound, and become a part of, you know, the silly part of the poet society. You know,
yeah,
everybody up there isn't taking it seriously. They, you know, it's not like it's not like rock where there's like a hall of fame of rock musicians, and these people are like gods. They have ascended, and it's a very serious thing of how well you can like play guitar or have like these big swooping vocals. I think that rap more so is less about lyricism or beats or anything, and more about being in tune with the absurdity of life. And so when I say that this is one of the best rap songs, that's kind of where that comes in, is its ability to, resonate with humanity.
Hmm. Some
Yeah.
some really strong words. I feel like I might have to go back and give this another chance after that. I think I do agree with just like on the like genre commentary you're giving, and that may be a contributing factor to why uh, rock as a genre is like
Dead.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say necessarily dead, but just like not very strong right now.
The
That it
thing
just like
is,
Hmm.
yeah,
it
because
ended up taking itself too seriously, and it kind
totally.
of like it lost some of its charm along the
Yeah.
way.
And that's why
Yeah.
all of the best rock music of recent years is like
Mm.
like far off from how rock started, because
Right.
Yeah, and I think
all of that is done.
a lot of the good recent stuff too is not afraid to mix it with other genres.
Yeah, because I
And it
think
Yep.
that's what rock does best. Is it you can make rock into any other genre. It's
Hmm.
rock is basically just what instruments you use.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Rock sort of has become like rap sustains itself off of life energy, and rock sort of sustains itself on a sort of hierarchical society, and so that's where it falls down. It kills itself on hero worship,
Yeah,
and so maybe where like where we're talking about how like the best maybe musical rock uh acts coming out recently are good, because they sort of branch out. It is also interesting to see like where a lot of the more popular and commercially successful bands are going. The biggest, like when you start talking about that, I instantly thought about Greta Van Fleet,
I was just gonna say, yeah.
that's my
where it's like
Unfortunately,
they're good because they can replicate what somebody else did, you know,
are
50
you saying
years
they're
ago.
good? Or are you saying people regard them as good?
People regard them as good
Okay,
because
because
they
I
can
wouldn't
they
I
can
wouldn't
create
say they're
this.
very good personally.
No, it's and honestly, I'm not a big fan of Led Zeppelin either. Um, and I think it's also very important too with how much rap is more like, or sorry, what I'm saying. So rap is stolen. Like rap is always going to be about thievery and stealing. But what's nice is that it's open
I
about
think
that.
all art is though.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is rap is nice because it's open about that,
yeah,
where
because like
rock
take Led
is,
Zeppelin, like
yeah, that's what that's the sort of the lens I'm starting to put back on classic rock, is like how much of this is just stolen from black art and old blues and everything, and how that became popular as opposed to the medium it comes from. Um, and so again, that's just sort of why rock is so tired and losing itself, while hip hop was able to even steal from rock, and become stronger from it.
yeah, and I mean it's
As
why rap is where you find all the samples, stuff like that. Like they
mhm,
because they're so open about just taking other work and making it their own, they get to be more they have more freedom in, what they can make their art out of
right,
because they don't have to hide it.
yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Um any of my notes now seem on this track seem like pretty redundant, so I guess we'll move on to Vomit Spit. All right. Chan, what do you think about Vomit Spit? Are you going to drop another like 20 minute deep thoughts with Chan or
I was
One
holding
one more hot
that wad.
take.
You were holding back. That was holding back. We've got another like 4 hours left in you.
Yeah, I didn't want to show you my true potential in this podcast because I knew it would be too powerful. And even right now, I'm holding back. What you're seeing is a mere like 25% of full blast.
Well, you
so
hinted at it, and now we're waiting for more.
that's what scares me is that I'm worried of becoming a messiah-like image, and that's something I don't want to do.
At least you're humble about it, you know?
This is not me, dude. This is not me. It's just nice to be here. It's nice that we can be three white guys validating MF Doom. I think that's really important right now.
Jesus Christ. Is that your opinion on Vomit Spit?
That's all I have to say about Vomit Spit.
Okay, then what do you think about Vomit Spit 2?
They made a Vomit Spit 2?
It's called Vomit Spit on this record, not the Vomit Spit that Chan just spoke for 20 minutes. All right, I guess Peter's going first. Chan, you didn't talk about Vomit Spit.
Chan, do you have any more thoughts on the actual track, and not just music as a
concept?
That's why I'm having a tough time on this because talking about individual tracks is not usually my thing, but
it's beneath you, huh?
What's that?
It's beneath you.
No, it's not even beneath me. It's just not.
It's so far beneath you that it's not even there.
I don't even see it because my eyes are above it. No, it's just not how I digest music. Maybe.
Yeah.
But Vomit Spit. These last two tracks are like they're decent, but it's tough to finish any art, and so I think that it wasn't the best. These aren't the best tracks to leave on, but they're still solid.
That's fair. Yeah, I like these, but Peter, what do you think about? Do we want to just talk about the last two at the same time, or do we want to go on?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well.
Okay.
I tend to agree. I mean, I guess there's different schools of thought on how to finish an album, and yeah, this would definitely be more on the letting you down gently side of things.
I think the last sample on Cookies, and I'll just give like my brief thoughts on both tracks. I think Vomit Spit has one of the more intricate beats on the record, with like the keyboard sample, and there's like a faint guitar loop and a really deep bass line over like a really in your face beat.
Again, I really like the keyboard samples.
Yeah, I think
not just on Vomit Spit, but like the entire album.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This track is just kind of another single verse track where Doom is just kind of spitting crazy, like kind of just showing off
Vomit?
his. Yeah. He's
Spitting
just
vomit?
puking. Like that's just the whole track. There's no actual words. He's going
Just
the whole
puking
time.
all over us and reading it up.
Yeah. I think one thing that's interesting about Vomit Spit is they let the beat ride at the end instead of ending it and using using like a skit or a sample or stuff like that. I think that's kind of refreshing after having every single other track end with a sample or like a skit. And then Cookies has a really like jarringly dark beat. I think this is probably like the least like happy sounding beat on the record.
Yeah, the drums on this one are really like they're almost like unnerving because they like it's kind of like a steady beat and then they have a little like surprises you.
The drum sound on this sounds like it's sampled from Mario 64 when you fight Bowser. I don't know if that's like just me,
Oh,
but like
full circle. We bring it back to Mario
yeah.
64, huh?
This is the N64 of
N64 type
records.
beat.
I told you guys, N64 type beats like that's
It's what
and that
Doom
I
does,
mean
I
totally.
guess.
I mean he pulled out a King Koopa
Oh, that's true. I remember
verse
that.
back in what was it? Back in I think One Beer, was it?
I think it might have
Or
been One
no,
Beer, yeah.
no.
One of the tracks.
I'll dig for it.
All right.
It's either that
Find
or
it.
Potholders,
Yeah,
or maybe Hoe Cakes.
are we just gonna
Yeah,
come
Hoe
out and
Cakes.
say
There you go.
Hoe Cakes? Are we just gonna come out and say that MF Doom is a gamer?
MF Doom is a gamer.
MF Doom is a
Yeah.
gamer.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think MF Doom is a game.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
That's more true than you think.
I think this might actually. So, Cookies might be my favorite verse on the record, though. Like it's back to more of his like eccentric, where he's ending verses mid sentence or even mid word, and he barely even gets like a chance to breathe the whole time. It's just like front to back. He's just going and going and going and going, and you can hear him breathe. So like it's all one. It feels like it's all one take at least. I don't think there's any point where it sounds like it cuts. It sounds like that was all just back to back to back to back to back to back. He just went through the whole thing.
Possible.
I wouldn't put it past him. And this is one of like the most food centric tracks on the record, I think.
Dude, he don't mess with the Ritz bits.
Yeah, the
Wheat
Ritz
Thins,
bits.
saltines, or Triscuits,
So good.
Matzos or Cheez-Its.
Doritos,
Such an
Cheetos.
awesome verse.
Yeah. that whole second verse especially is just all food. Like all of it. And it really like I almost don't agree. Like I think this does feel like a good closure to the record. Maybe not like I don't know if musically
Yeah.
it's as good of a closure as it could have been, but lyrically and like thematically it closes
That's
the
fair.
whole thing out
I
pretty
think
well.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really the trouble, not trouble, but just how I see it is just it's very hard to find the end of a musical string
Yeah.
because either it is infinitely long or it is cyclical, like
Nonagon Infinity.
yeah, like it either is going to have to invert on itself, which it does in this one, I guess
Yeah.
is really what it does.
I actually like so in listening to this, I just listened to it on loop, like because I had 3 days to listen to it enough to talk about it. So I just looped it, and it loops well. I will say you can restart this album right from the end, and it loops back around and does pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, even just like thematically, this brings it back to the beginning, which more like breakfast, kind of like snacky type themes.
That's true. And then of course like the outro samples of like kind of Doom will return or whatever in the next on the next episode of MF Doom.
At the very end, it's like food. We need food.
Yeah, of course that sample that I mentioned coming back. I think that I like that. I like the end of the record. I don't know. I think on most other records I wouldn't like it ending on like a skit or like something with samples like this. But given how sample heavy this record is and how many of those skits kind of tie into each other, I think it fits well. But yeah, any other thoughts on these last two tracks before we go into like final thoughts?
I mean, I know I was saying it's kind of like the letting you down gently side of things, as opposed to like a more explosive big finish.
Yeah.
But like I didn't mean that in like a negative way. I
Yeah.
still really like this track. I'd say maybe even like top 6 tracks.
All right.
I like Cookies, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We want to go to like final thoughts and wrap this up. I think we're good to do that.
Chan?
It's good.
All right. So what we did this the last couple times. We gave like a rating. You don't have to give a rating. Knowing you, you probably won't give a rating, but maybe I'm wrong. Just
Oh,
like,
me?
yeah, you.
Oh, yeah.
Just out of
Just sort
10
of
is what we've been doing.
out of 10 if I had
If you
to.
had to, but you don't have to. You can also just give like final thoughts separate from a score.
If you really want it, if it's really gonna make your day,
It
8 out
really
of
will.
10.
Nice.
There you go. Does
I
that
was
make you? Is
I
that
was expecting
does that
higher
make you so happy? Does that make you
I
just
was
sit back
too.
in
from
your
you.
chair
Yeah. Honestly,
and
I think like two or three of these tracks you said were like best hip hop tracks ever.
yeah, well, it's very easy to make a best hip hop track ever.
Is it?
wait a
Wait, what?
minute.
Yeah, it's
Wait
very
a
easy.
minute.
Well, you see
Hot take.
it's
Hottest take of the
not.
night.
No, it's not a hot take because really the only thing that makes is a track, you know, or what keeps you from creating the best rap album or rap song of all time is just trying to, you know,
Yeah.
I don't
when
know
you're
if I
I guess
agree
putting
that
with that,
makes kind
when
of
but
you're putting
okay.
sense.
your whole heart into a track instead of thinking about where it's gonna stand or like how many units it can sell or if it's gonna be the hottest hit of the summer. When if you just rap isn't about that. It's rap's about like I said, the human condition. And if you can sort of open up people's eyes to that for a second, sort of rip them out of the daily grind and just terrible world and see what it really is and not pretending. I think then you've got one of the best rap tracks of all time.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that.
Interesting.
It doesn't have to be a rate your music list all the time. It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be compared to other things. It doesn't have to stand up. Rap isn't music. Creativity isn't
Rap isn't a music.
rap isn't a music. It isn't. Rap is
Okay, Ben Shapiro.
everything else is music, but which again might be more true than I'm actually thinking. That I'm joking, but not in a mean way, not in like this isn't valid in a way, but you know,
It is
it
separate
transcends
from a
more.
lot of, like, it
Yeah.
is notably separate from a lot of other kinds of music, but I don't know if I would say it is more separate from other kinds of music in a way that is unique to, like, it's more separate than other genres like noise or stuff like that. Like, it's separate.
Field recordings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
if
rap
you
is
start
sort
to
of
define what is and isn't music, suddenly it's over. Like, you're
yeah. No, that's not what I'm trying to
yeah,
get
no,
at. But no, rap is very much like something that isn't music, but you take that sort of mindset, you take that creativity, and you apply it to popular music.
I
That's
guess
what
so.
rap is to me. Rap isn't beats and rapped lyrics. Rap is you know a school of thought, a mindset, and then you could apply it to anything. You could apply it to the visual medium or cinema or anything. But when you apply it to popular music, you get hip hop.
Yeah. I can see that. And I guess you can kind of get like some of that mindset in older like black art. So like kind of some of that earlier soul, even some like some gospel music from back in the day. Like you can get a similar, I don't want to say a similar mindset, but a similar feeling to what is driving it, um as opposed to like early popular rock music, like you were saying, Led Zeppelin. It it has a very different feel to kind of what you're talking about here.
Is Led Zeppelin early pop rock?
That was maybe like I went on two different tangents in that last sentence, but
It's early.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
early
fair.
hyperpop.
Proto hyperpop confirmed.
Jesus. All right.
100 Gex does kind of look like Led Zeppelin.
All right,
Honestly,
Peter, what do you
I
think
could
about
dig
this
it
record?
all.
What do you think about this record? We need to
This is a fantastic record. As I was saying earlier, it's only been like the past few years I've been more like open-minded about hip hop as a genre, and generally it's the more contemporary albums that really um, kind of scratch that itch for me. And I think maybe a big part of that is production, but as a early 2000s album, this really holds up, and I think I can see that influence on a lot of the more modern albums that I enjoy, and this is probably gonna um, open the floodgates for me exploring older, more like maybe more 90s stuff too. I would give this a solid 8.
All right, I guess we're all gonna have the same score because I was also thinking like a strong 8. Um,
I said solid, not strong.
hey,
Solid is like firmly in the middle, you know?
you're firmly in the middle of this podcast. God,
Oh, okay.
Um, I really like this. I hadn't heard this before. It's not as good as Mad Villainy. And I didn't go in expecting it to be as good as Mad Villainy, and I think if I had, I would have been disappointed. But this is like pretty solidly up there with like some of my favorites. I will still need to give it more listens. Like I said, like I'll need more listens over time because I've kind of listened to it over and over and over for the past 3 days and not much else. So yeah, I am going to assume that this album will hold up for me. And if that changes, I will bring it up on this podcast and get people yelling at me.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I'd say like a strong 8, which makes it my least favorite of the albums we've talked about on this podcast.
Really? Wow. Okay, my new mission is to find albums that you absolutely despise.
Good luck, actually. Like, honest to God, good luck. I don't think I will. There are a few albums I can think of that I would rate less than a 6.
You love music that much, huh?
Unfortunately. Like, my takes are so lukewarm unless I like this bad album.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyways, do we want to choose the next album right now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Just go with the
one of my
randomizer.
picks, finally.
All right, let's do this.
So I have this my family has owned this can opener, but like bottle opener for as long as I remember. It's one you put on the fridge with a magnet.
Okay.
And I've never really looked at it until now. I've never really observed it. It's sort of just been something on the fridge and it's very utilitarian. I didn't really use it much until recently.
But now it's an art piece.
Now it's completely like linked in your mind to MF Doom.
Maybe, but it certainly made me look at it more because like I couldn't pick this out from like if you had like 100 different of these can openers, I could not pick it out until
100 gex, huh?
Until right now. Like really look, I never really noticed the design and like the fake gold on the front, on the face, and how like I've had this and that this has been in my memory for 22 years, and just now I'm really sort of, spatializing it.
This is what this podcast does to people.
It really makes you think, huh?
So I have the album for next time, and I'm really excited for this one as well.
Wait. Did we not do our top tracks?
Oh shoot, yeah. What are some of our favorite tracks? Just give like 3 to 5 tracks, Chan. Just like your favorites off this.
I think my favorite was Figaro. That's about it.
Figaro, Figaro. All right, Peter, what are your favorite tracks
Okay.
on this record? I guess we're skipping
Um,
Chen. I mean, he
I
already
like
said two of these are some of the best of all time.
yeah, I like the deep fried friends. One beer, Guinnesses, gumbo, and cookies.
Yeah. I think I'll give 5. Um, let's say Guinness's vomit spit. One beer, deep fried friends, and potholders. No, cookies.
Nice.
All right. So I have our next album, and I'm sorry, this is another one of my picks, but like I have so many picks on this list that it was gonna happen. Uh,
This is true.
it's Pop 2 by Charlie XCX.
Okay. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I like
So
that one too. So,
so Chan, I don't know if you're coming back next time, but we would love to have you.
I doubt
speaking of
that.
hyperpop,
Yeah, speaking of hyperpop, we would love to have Chan. Chan is the hyperest of pops. Because he's a
Well,
dad.
what?
No.
what?
All right. We should end this. Um, no final thoughts are allowed.
Bye.
Goodbye.